Park rangers are trained to trust their instincts, but there are certain situations where even they're told not to ask questions. Across national parks and remote forests, there are reports that never make it into official logs. Small incidents. Strange encounters.
Dispatch, Unit 4.
Things
All
that
clear on the
don't
East
quite
Trail.
add up. And the people who experience them, trained professionals, often choose not to talk about them again. These are 7 of those encounters. It started during a routine evening patrol in a large forested park in the Pacific Northwest. A ranger was driving a service road just before sunset, checking trail closures. Over the radio, dispatch called his name. He responded immediately. But instead of instructions, there was just breathing. Not heavy. Not panicked. Just slow,
Dispatch, this
steady
is Ranger
breathing,
AO1. All
like
clear on
someone
the East
standing
Trail.
very
Over.
close to the microphone.
Copy that. We'll advise.
He asked
Over.
dispatch to repeat the message. No
Dispatch,
response.
this is Ranger AO1.
A few
All quiet
seconds
on the East
later,
Trail.
the radio clicked again. This time, it was dispatch, clear and normal, asking why he hadn't responded earlier. He said he had. Dispatch insisted they never heard him. When he returned to the station later that night, the audio logs showed no unusual transmissions. No breathing. No missed calls. Just silence. A ranger in a desert national park was assigned to follow up on a missing hiker report. The last known location was a marked trail that stretched for miles through open terrain. The ranger found footprints within minutes. They were fresh, clear, easy to follow. But after about half a mile, something changed. The footprint stopped, then reappeared heading in the opposite direction. Same shoes. Same tread pattern. It looked like the person had turned around, but there were no turning marks. No shift in weight. No disturbance in the sand. Just a clean reversal. The ranger followed the returning prints. They led straight back to the trailhead. And then, they disappeared completely. No signs of the hiker were ever found. During a late-night patrol, 2 rangers in a mountainous park spotted what looked like an illegal campsite deep off-trail. They saw a faint glow between the trees. Firelight. As they approached, they could hear movement. The sound of someone walking. Maybe more than one person. They called out. No answer. They moved closer, expecting to confront whoever was there. But when they reached the clearing, there was nothing. No fire. No gear. No people. The ground was cold. No smoke. No embers. No footprints. But both rangers agreed on one detail: they had clearly seen the light moving. Not flickering. Moving. A solo ranger was conducting a morning sweep along a high-altitude trail. Visibility was clear, and the weather was calm. Up ahead, on a distant ridge, he noticed a person standing still. That wasn't unusual. Hikers sometimes wandered off marked paths. He called out. No response. He raised his binoculars. The figure was facing him, completely still. He estimated the distance, too far for details, but close enough to confirm it was a human shape. Then something felt off. The proportions didn't quite match. The arms seemed slightly too long. The posture too rigid. He lowered the binoculars for a moment. When he looked again, the ridge was empty. There was no way someone could have moved that fast across that terrain. He checked the area later. No tracks. No signs of anyone being there. In a heavily wooded park known for dense wildlife activity, a ranger was walking a popular trail just after noon. Normally, the forest was alive with sound, birds, insects, wind through the trees. But about a mile in, everything stopped. No birds. No insects. No wind. Just silence. At first, he thought it was temporary. But it continued. The deeper he walked, the quieter it became. Then he noticed something else. There were no other hikers. This was a trail that usually had dozens of visitors. He checked his watch. Still early afternoon. He turned around. And that's when he heard it. Footsteps behind him. Matching his pace. He stopped. The sound stopped. He walked again. So did the footsteps. He turned quickly. No one was there. When he finally reached the trailhead, the normal forest sounds returned instantly. Like nothing had changed. But one report didn't just unsettle a ranger, it changed how patrols were handled in that entire region. In a remote section of forest, there was an old fire lookout tower no longer in use. It had been sealed for years. Access was restricted. The door was locked. The windows were boarded. One evening, a ranger noticed a light coming from the top. That shouldn't have been possible. He approached the tower. The door was still locked. No signs of forced entry. But the light inside was real, moving across the windows like someone walking around. He called for backup. Another ranger arrived. Both of them saw it. They circled the tower, checking for any way in or out. Nothing. Finally, they decided to unlock the door. Inside, the structure was exactly as it had been left years ago. Dust everywhere. No footprints. No equipment. No source of light. They climbed to the top. Nothing. When they came back down, the light was gone. The tower was sealed again the next day. But according to one of the rangers, the reports didn't stop. A veteran ranger was working a late shift near a remote canyon area. It was well past midnight, and the park was closed to visitors. He was checking a series of trail markers when he heard someone call his name. Clear. Close. Familiar. He turned immediately. No one was there. He assumed it was another ranger. He radioed in. Dispatch confirmed, he was the only one in that sector. He went back to his patrol. A few minutes later, he heard it again. This time from a different direction. Same voice. Same tone. Saying his name. He started moving back toward his vehicle. The voice followed. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just present. At one point, it sounded like it was right behind him. He stopped. And for a brief second, he felt something brush past his shoulder. No wind. No movement in the trees. Nothing visible. He got in his vehicle and left the area immediately. The next day, he returned with a team. They searched the entire zone. No signs of trespassers. No tracks. No evidence anyone else had been there. But the ranger filed a report anyway. Not because he expected answers, but because he said the voice knew something it shouldn't have. It didn't just say his name. It said it the way only one person used to. Someone who had died years earlier. Some of these incidents were written off as miscommunication. Others were never officially acknowledged at all. But among rangers, certain patterns are quietly understood. Unusual silence. Things that move when they shouldn't. Voices where no one is supposed to be. And according to some of them, this still happens.